everyone, Sarah back again today for Brass&Bliss, and I am sharing a card using the beautiful Daisy Daydream and Random Holes stencil, and quite a few inks, honestly. Here I'm just going ahead and using my mini Misty. These are brand new stamps, so of course I rubbed my hand across them to hopefully remove, that extra little layer that happens when stamps are new. And it stamped really well the first time, so not a big deal. I do realize I don't stamp it extremely great the second time, but I always stamp extras because I do not use all of these on my card today, but I always tend to stamp extras so that I have them to play with and, do what I want with. So if I don't feel like pulling things out and stamping at one point, then I already have some. Here I am stamping a little bit that was not able to go on my Misty the first time. And this has got my sentiment. It says, "You are amazing." And then a flower with a stem. And I pulled some embossing powder from my stash and went ahead and put it across the top of the ink, because with the ink, while it's still wet, it will hold the embossing powder. So I'm going ahead and doing that to all of them. I made a little bit of a mess on my desk. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that up really quick and put that stuff away. I'm going to grab a paintbrush to help me hold it down, and I am going to grab my heat gun. My heat gun is a beast. It will peel paint, and yes, I have peeled paint off of this desk. But yeah, it's a very powerful heat gun, I guess I should say. So I'm going ahead and making sure that I get these all done. When it gets a little too close to my finger, I make sure to put it down, and I hold it with the paintbrush because it gets quite hot. Here, I went ahead and pulled out my glass mat, and I am pulling out, set 4, set 2, set 6, and eventually set 11 of the Color Fuse inks, and I'm squishing them down on top of my glass mat here because I am going to do some watercoloring on all of these flowers. Now, the plus side about embossing is that it kind of helps that the water doesn't go outside of those as easily. I am messy though, and you'll see me correcting some of that later on, not yet. But here I'm going ahead and I'm just using the red to start out with, and I watered it down quite a bit. And then I'm going to, mix the purple and the red together to add some shading. I wanted some variation in color. I'll also pull some of that orange in, the darker orange. The lighter orange I kind of mix in with the center of the flowers here and there. But here, I'm just going through and using some of the mix between the purple and the red to make darker portions. And then I used a watered down version of the red to paint over it again and kind of make them fuse together better. And then I'll go in with some of the orange and add some orange highlights just to where it looks like the sun is kind of kissing parts of the flower a little more. That's where they seem to be a little brighter. And that's where that little orange comes in. And it looks so great when it's all done and dried. I honestly could sit here for hours and do the watercoloring, and sometimes I do, usually not uninterrupted, but I sit here for hours and do this because it's something that I love, and it's cool because my kids will also do it. They like to sit, and I'll stamp them out some images, and they will sit there and they will watercolor them or paint them or color them with their markers and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this with all of my flowers, well, the ones that I believe I'm going to use today. So it was the one that had just the sentiment and the floral on it, and then these. And I will use, I think, all of these except for one floral and maybe one leaf. But I still paint them all, and it's okay. It's very relaxing, and it's very nice. And I like the fact that I can play with the darkness on these, deciding where I want a little more of a shadow to be, where I want some more of the highlights to be with the orange. So I go through and I mess with a little bit of that on each of these. So they're all a little different. And it's fun because my daughters come in and they want to play with it and they want to do some of their own. So at one point I did stop and stamp them some, and they sat in here at their desk and they pulled out their markers and watercolors and did a little as well. So it's nice. It's nice that we can do some of this stuff together. They like to make cards for their grandma. So that's cool. But here I'm going to go ahead and continue. This is one of the ones I know is going to be tilted a little more. And so I am actually putting some more of the purple on the right-hand side, on the inside of the flower, but the right-hand side, just to add a little more of the shading there. Afterwards, I kind of realized maybe I should have put some of the purple on the left-hand side because it was going to be underneath the larger flower a little bit. But the tips of all of them have that little bit of orange added so that it pops a little more. So I actually don't end up using that smaller one. I end up using this one. And so it ends up working out just fine. These are beautiful. I know they're Daisy Daydream, but I love the fact that you can change their color and use them for pretty much anything. And they're gorgeous, just black and white. But I love being able to add more color into them. You can change it to anything. I almost did these purple, but decided against it. I decided to go kind of more along the lines of what the front showed. You can see it right there to my right. I thought that that was just gorgeous, and I wanted to see how close I could get to it. And then when I started doing it, I kind of veered off and just did what I wanted to do, which is fine. And that's the point of crafting. You can do that. I really love the way they turned out. Here, I went ahead and pulled the set 11 of the color fuse, and I'm doing the leaves. I'm going to add a little bit of shading, and then I forgot to do the stem on this one, so I went back. I put those to the side to dry, and then I went ahead and put the stencil over a piece of cardstock, and I grabbed one of my, just one of my little blending brushes, and at first I was tapping it on top of the square, but doing it one-handed, it makes it slide, so I decided just to tap it down on my glass mat and use my blending brush on that. And it turned out great. I cleaned up the little bit of stuff that I used to hold it down, sprayed my stencil, and actually used another piece of cardstock to push over it so I can use that for another card. I'm not going to make you watch me cut all these things out, so I just am showing you that I am going to go ahead and adhere them down with a little bit of minty tape so that it, stays where it needs to. They cut out perfectly, and like I said before, I am a little bit messy. I don't usually color within the lines. So I grab my white gel pen here, and what I do is I just go around the outside, and the places that I messed up and got outside of the lines, I will color over with my gel pen, so then you don't even know it was ever there. I went ahead and cut my card base down, and I decided I wanted to cut this down. I didn't want it to be the full size of the card. So I went ahead and cut it down, and I am going to place my flowers towards the top of it so that there's a little bit of white behind, and I will stick my little greenery in. These are so pretty. I can't wait to play with these flowers more. I went ahead, this is the sentiment. This is the You're Amazing that I had decided to go ahead and stamp. It's from the same stamp set. And I decided I was going to fussy cut this out. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut it. And then honestly, I just kind of set it to the side because I'm going to start sticking everything down. And it doesn't take but a minute or two for me to actually fussy cut this out. And it makes it small and dainty. So here I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of the polka dot one. I love that stencil. I love polka dots. So I will probably use that a lot. I went ahead and adhered that down. I did grab some spray from my stash, and I am splattering it on top of that so that it just kind of has more shine. They honestly turn out to be pretty shiny splatters. I also grabbed some fun foam from my stash and put it on the back of a few of these flowers so that they are popped up so that there's a little dimension on the card. So I do it to two of the flowers, the two at the utmost top, and I go ahead and I glue the stemmed one down first. Oh no, I glued the other one down first. And I have to move things around a little bit so that they stay where I want them. And then I just go ahead and add my leaves, tuck them here and there. They don't stay exactly in the same place they were the first time I put them down. I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to the back of my sentiment, and that finishes up this card for me. I love the way this card turned out. It's bright, beautiful, and vibrant, perfect for spring. Make sure to check out the Brass&Bliss website. Links will be below. And thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great day. Bye.